Good afternoon, everybody, and happy hump day. It's your girl, C-Wit, with a special edition of a C-Wit session. What's a C-Wit session? I'm so glad you asked. A C-Wit session is a surprise interview in a surprise location in a pop-up location with a surprise guest. Surprise, I am with my friend. He is my friend first before anything else, but he's also my coworker, my colleague, and more, Mark Spencer. And before he even utters a word, I am going to utter 3 words. Let me see, 4. I am not political, okay? I'm going to say it again. I am not political. This is me having a conversation with my friend Mark Spencer, who just so happens to be our councilman at large and in the race for 3rd District Senate.
Yes.
And this is my platform, so I can talk to who I want to talk to. But I did do this so that I don't get a whole long line of candidates in May saying, but you talked to Mark.
Yeah, right.
Mark and I are just talking, just so happened to be a big step and repeat behind us for a state senator. But I felt that this conversation was very critical at this time for not only the city of Gary, the 3rd District, and what we are trying to do as a city. But before we jump into all of that, who is Mark Spencer on level for those under those rocks out there that just don't know who you are?
Well, you know, I am a product of the great city of Gary, Indiana, born and raised here, raised by a single parent, my mom, Betty.
Hey, Miss Betty.
Hey, Mother.
I know she'll see this
Yes,
soon.
she will. She served as both mom and dad, and it's been an incredible experience being a graduate of Emerson School for the Visual and Performing Arts. First graduating class, and the first member of my family to attend college.
How apropos is that to be a part of the very first class of what was such a success story for the school district? I mean, we always likened you all to fame. You know, I went to West Side, and when we would go to Saturday school, we'd be like, the Emerson kids, because you're going to get all the lead roles, and rightfully so, because you all can sing, you can dance, you can do everything.
You know what? All of those disciplines did take, their course and went into play in terms of building our character. It was an incredible experience, and those who attended, they're the ones that can really testify and agree that we were consecrated for service in arts and just in terms of civil matters. So Emerson was absolutely dynamic, and I was happy to be a part of that first class and seeing the shape of it and the efforts of your Ray Scotts and Jeanette Cowens and all those powerhouses.
Oh my goodness, you're taking me back.
Yeah, they were incredible.
Yes, because we got a chance to glean off of those amazing instructors because they taught us on Saturdays.
Yes, they did.
So I got my little Emerson fix in musical theater and little people's theater.
Sure, absolutely.
So then after Emerson, then what?
Well, then my first experience was, and all of my education was local because of economics, but Mom was like, there are no excuses in our home. You will be educated. We will maximize the resources that are around us. So my first degree was earned at Indiana University Northwest.
You know I love them. So
I
IU Northwest, okay.
Yes.
And what was the degree in?
In theater.
Theater,
Yeah,
okay.
in theater. And then from there, I was employed by the Gary Community School Corporation. And it was supposed to be a temporary assignment. And that temporary assignment's been going on for about 34 years now.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, we have reaped the benefits of you serving as the director of the West Side Theater Guild and Fine Arts, and all of the hundreds and hundreds of young people who have come through your program, gone on to do amazing things around the world. And I have to chuckle because, you know, when you were, you still do the amazing concerts, but when you had the iconic guests coming through, like a Ray Charles and a Cicely Tyson and a Michael Jackson. And I will always be forever grateful as I was working with the school district at that time as the PR person, go figure, full circle. And you always made sure my office was included and that I was included. So anyone who has been over to the Whittington estate will see all of those different framed photos. You always made sure we had a framed photo. So you go in my office, there's me and all of us and Michael Jackson or Ray Charles. You know, so people walk by like, wow. I'm like, that's all Mark. That's when you were rocking that. That lion's mane.
Back in the day. Took a lot of work to maintain.
I know.
So I'm glad it's gone.
So now you, after talking about your illustrious career that still continues with the West Side Theater Guild and the Gary Community School Corporation, there were eyebrows raised, or not in like worry, but just like, what, Mark, councilman, what part of the game is this? So can you clarify? Because I'm going to throw my opinion out there, then I'm going to get out the way. I feel like the best politicians are not politicians. How about that? They're everyday community citizens who have a genuine desire to serve their community. Did I get that right?
You got it right.
All right. So now what was your thinking around this, and what was the impetus to say, you should look at public office?
Sure. I will say that I am indebted to this community. I mentioned earlier I was raised by a single parent, and there were gaps. There were things that were missing, and the city of Gary always stepped up. Always. I don't want to get emotional. Sometimes
I know. It always stepped up for us. That's why we're still here.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And yes, I had the invitations, the opportunities to jump on tour buses and all of that, but I needed to give back. So when I work with so many talented artists and pouring into the young people and adults that decided to come back and work with us, it was an obligation because of, as I was mentioning at one of our rallies, when I first became a contributor to society with being gainfully employed, it was a lump in my throat because it was always economically challenging. It was, it was only when tax time came, when that extra bump came, we got excited about some things, and it was just Mom. So when I had a full-time career and
with benefits,
with benefits and with a plan, I saw that this community wrapped its arms around me, getting emotional, and made sure that in spite of whatever was missing, I too can achieve. You feel me?
Yes.
So why would I want to take that to Detroit? Why would God bless me? I have a lot of friends in Detroit and LA, but I said no, I must stand here. So fast forward, that's why I'm with the Guild and all of these talented folk who, including yourself, that have worked with and fed into the dream and poured into children. I realized I was getting older.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. And at the time I was 51, and I said, how am I going to continue to serve over the next 30 years or so? So I'm not sure if I can do those dynamic things as I've done with children, at that level. What else can I do to be helpful to the community? So yes, that civic voice has always been there, but it's been quiet.
I see.
So yeah, if you think about it, I've worked with every single administration.
You really have.
Think about it. I'm the guy that's behind the camera before anyone got there. I'm the one briefing. I saw all of their notes, all of their ideological differences, all of their platforms. I've been there on the ground level. I just never said anything.
I hadn't thought of that, Mark. And you were always even killed.
Yeah,
and that's not hard. That's not easy to do in some circumstances. You know how folks that are in certain positions, when the administration changed, they start sweating bullets like, let me deliver flowers. What do I need to do? But when you're good at what you do, you have a passion for it, your name and reputation precedes you. So whomever's stepping into the role, be it superintendent, mayor, or whatever, they're like, I already know Mark Spencer. And I feel like, as the PR professional that I am, that type of brand, reputation, and name will serve you well with your political aspirations.
Well, yeah, and I'm grateful for that. And that's another reason why I feel the need to return the wink and the nod, because all of the leadership in Gary allowed me to be at the head table to work these things. And they said, we are well pleased with you, when it was broadcasting or management or whatever. So when Michael Jackson came to town, I got the call at 3 a.m. that we need to have a briefing, and I'm in my robe and I have to run out. And the respect was always there. And most people don't know this part because I don't really talk to people about what I do. I have to share a lot of myself now. And I feel I've earned and learned so much because of our city. I have to get back to her. So when I think about, a lot of people don't know this, I was the manager, the production manager for the Obama campaign when it came to Gary. So,
I did not know that. Breaking news on the Seawood.
It was
session.
So when people are like, no, you weren't. No, yes, I was.
Yes, you was.
Because when they came to Roosevelt, I was the guy. I was the one that had the Secret Service clearance and all of that.
Nice.
And the point, what I'm making is, it's not about I was there, I did this. No, it was that I was entrusted I learned so much, and I had a burning desire to serve, but it wasn't time.
Okay.
So I was very quiet.
Okay.
So think about all the administrations, all the neighboring administrations at the state level.
Yes.
So when people say things like, well, his experience, I have more experience than most people have.
Say it again. I love it. You were built for this.
I was built.
I'm so glad you are laying it plain here, because I hadn't, because I work with the arts at the theater, and I know that everybody knows you, so I'm like, oh, he should be good. But at the same time, like I talked about, what my feeling is I'd rather see John Q. Public in office than the person that says, this year I'm going to run for a precinct. Then I got it, I'm going to be a councilman. Then, and I'm like, man, you haven't even gotten elected yet. You already know you want to just jump from job to job.
Right.
So let's talk about you being councilman at large.
Yes.
It's been less than a year, right? So what has it been like? Are the citizens getting on your nerves? Are we calling you too much? What are we doing?
Keep the calls coming, because again, and I'm working with some great senior leaders that have been both very kind and patient with me, because they know my skill set and my wheelhouse is in another lane, but they know that my heart for serving is sincere.
Yes.
So we are taking that conduit from my aspiration and desire with the practicality of what's taking place in that chamber.
Yeah.
And I could just give an entire list. If I name one, I gotta name them all.
I know.
But all of them, all of our members, all of the retirees have called to guide me, and they know that all I want to do is offer the best representation and services for our citizens.
Yes, I love it.
Because
And then with it being at large, that gives you that
the entire city.
The entire city.
Wow. And I wanted to hit the ground running because it's not to bring the mood down, but we want to raise the awareness of certain things. We recently had the issue where our lawsuit, right, with dealing with the sale of guns and all of those, straw
press
sales.
Conference coming up too.
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, April 22nd.
Yeah, April 22nd.
Somebody's following you. Fangirl, look at me, dog. I try to stay in the loop of what's going on in our city.
Right. So from that lawsuit that was filed in the 90s, I think with Attorney Mayor Scott King at the time, with holding these manufacturers responsible, that was struck down. And so you have to make lemonade with lemons. So what we have is resolution 2024-03, which was unanimously voted on and approved by our council as a piece of legislation that I presented, where we're saying, okay, your Second Amendment rights are extremely important. No one's trying to challenge them.
However,
please protect our children and everyone around by employing the use of a gun lock. It's basically saying, no matter what you choose in terms of your weaponry, make sure everyone's safe, because if we can make sure that one life is saved. So those are the types of things that I'm trying to make people aware and get excited about, because if you will recall, think about this, probably 20 some years ago, I can recall when people were starting to enforce seatbelts.
Oh yes.
Folks were mad, they're uncomfortable.
Right.
This
is gonna wrinkle my
clothes. I remember 2020 had a special, right? Click it or ticket, and now, decades later, it's second nature.
It's second nature. Right? I buckle in.
Children are born into doing this.
Yeah.
And that's my hope and prayer, that although people are like, that's an extra step, I'm safe with my guns, if you have that best practice, you could be saving a life. Unfortunately, in my 33 years, I've lost about 18 kids.
Oh my goodness.
And it's rough, and the thing is, you want to make sure, and those are the little things. If you can do something that's small to,
that's huge, Mark.
Well, I'm just saying, to get on the conscience, the mind of the people. That's the thing. So it's funny, you have these dualities where, I can deal with an Al Green and 20,000 people on this side or do whatever, but there's always been that responsibility for civic service, doing something that is meaningful in a small way, just to get the conversation going, not for glory, not for...
it's never been for glory with you.
No.
I have watched him, ladies and gentlemen, viewers out there. I mean, he's around megastars, and you're just talking to Bill Cosby, like, Mr. Cosby, we're going to go on in 5, and your spot is there, and I need you to stay in the light. Or Ray Charles, Well, he couldn't see you, but he heard you. That's not funny, Amber.
And he felt
he
me.
Felt you. Like, I'm over here. I'm Mark Spencer. Right. No, those shows were just so amazing. And so now the excitement has turned to the political arena. We've talked council.
Yes.
Where in the world did the state Senate journey begin? Well, how did that come about?
Yeah, that was, I mean, that was, a blessing that I was thought enough of to fill that vacancy. And tricky in the same sense because I do believe in decency and decorum and order.
Yes.
And people tell you, you got to be white knuckled about all of this. And I disagree. I believe in respect and order. And I had to do a whole lot of praying because I was thankful for what I earned.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to get to work.
Right.
But then I realized our community had a need and there was a void, and that it was recommended that I was the person to carry that torch on from an Earlene Rogers or then Senator Milton.
Yes.
And it's turned my life completely upside down, but Gary's worth it.
I love it. Gary is worth it.
Yeah. And I'd have to say District 3 is worth it.
District 3. So what does District 3 encompass? Sure. I know it's Gary and then...
Yeah, Gary, and it's Maryville, right? And then it's Lake Station. Then it is New Chicago and the fine citizens of Hobart.
We have to share our Mark Spencer. We'll do it though, 3rd District folks, because what I shout out to Mayor/former State Senator Eddie Melton, because of the work we do with the district and I have done with the city of Gary, I have interfaced with him on many platforms and have seen what he has been able to do during his political career. And I will just say to you that sometimes, God's time is on time when you talk about elevation. So there may be some who will serve on the council 40 years, and that's their assignment.
Yeah.
Yours may be 4 months, 40 days, whatever, and then down to Indianapolis we go. But I want to call to the attention of voters, and I hope everybody is registered to vote. That should be a moot discussion on this broadcast, but I had to throw it out there, that your representation of the 3rd District, should you not be elected, removes an element of diversity to the ticket, I will say. There won't be a black person, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So in the role that where we've typically had that representation. How do you feel about that, Mark? Does that drive you even more to ensure that our voice is heard down 65?
Yeah, it's overwhelming because I never thought I would be in a position under a circumstance like this. I couldn't have written a one-act play like this.
Yes, you could.
Well, maybe I could. But I never would have anticipated.
Yeah.
But when you think about Rudy Clay, was elected to the Senate seat in 1972. And then I believe 4 years later, oh my goodness, I'm live and I should have had my notes in front of me.
There's so much political history here.
Katie Hall, I believe, was next.
Yes.
And I believe after Katie Hall was Earlene Rogers. And after Earlene Rogers was Eddie Milton. If I missed one, let me know. And
they'll do it. Trust me, it'll be in the comments or on your text message.
But since 72.
Yeah.
And then now it's a lot of pressure because honest to goodness, it's like all I want to do is help get everyone to row in the same direction.
Yeah.
And the added pressure is dealing with what you shared.
Yeah.
And it keeps me up at night because I don't want to disappoint our folks. Remember I told you I owed earlier.
Yeah.
So it's a part of that service where I grammatically incorrect on purpose. I don't need no credit. I don't need no pat on the back. I need to serve. It's my debt that I owe. And if it means living out of a suitcase 4 or 5 days a week, 4 months a year, for a voice for our kids in education, for our seniors in their medicine, for our veterans, to see bills through that have been passed, such as 434, Senate Bill 434, where we're dealing with this Metro Center downtown, eliminating blight. That was then Senator Eddie Milton's bill, as well as this convention center. We need a voice to make sure that it's in the very best location. So let's say, for instance, researchers and teams state that some of these items should land in other areas. you have to be mature enough to support whatever is decided and pulling everyone together, all communities together.
And keeping us informed
to
about
keep
what's
everyone
going
informed.
on.
Absolutely.
That was the one thing, well, not one, but one of the things that I did we enjoyed with Senator Melton's tenure.
Yes.
You know, he was forever sending reports back. They were in my mailbox and on social media and texts and things to let us know.
Yes.
And I have no doubt that that type of behavior will continue upon your victory. See, I just claimed it. Again, I'm wearing my friend hat. If you're just tuning in, this is a Seawood session, a conversation with Mark Spencer, my friend. Mark Spencer, Councilman at Large. Mark Spencer, Director of Fine Arts in the Westside Theater Guild. And Mark Spencer, the servant. That's what I'm hearing today. A debt that you owe. And so, Election Day is May 7th. However, early voting is a thing. Talk about it. When can we early vote?
Early vote right now.
Right now.
You can vote at the Gary Public Library, the main branch, which is adjacent to the Genesis Convention Center.
220 West 5th Avenue.
Yes, what she said.
Yes.
And you can early vote now.
Okay.
And if you want more specific times, again, I don't want to spew off anything that's incorrect. I know my location. I know that it's every day up until maybe 24 hours or 48 hours before, before the election day. So do call the library or just show up and do your due diligence. There's a lot of people that have lost their lives for our privilege
to get the right to vote.
Right, and we can't take it for granted. So exercise your right and get tired later.
Right.
You know,
I agree.
I agree. May 7th
I'm just
is
so
very important. Yes.
excited for you. So somebody's gonna text me or inbox me. I want to help Mark, so I'm gonna cut that phone call right now.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm gonna let you tell them now if they want to volunteer, if they want to donate, if they want to send you a well wish Cash App. What do you need, and how can they help?
Well, I need you to do, and the reason I'm looking down is because my entire life has been post-it notes and little cards. I'm not ashamed.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not
we
ashamed.
need notes for the broadcast.
I need to make sure, because it's like I've been everywhere. So simply to answer her question, SpencerForSenator.com. If you go to Spencer for Senator, you'll know more about our platform, what we stand for in terms of environment, education, and the economy, this gun lock safety issue. And if you choose to support, you know, I'm so independent. I do everything. I try to do this. It's killing me to ask for help. But that's the gray area between that starving artist giving back part and having to look directly and say, we need your support. Well, I'm getting better with it.
I'm proud of you.
But it's just all about service. It's just that other part I have to kind of...
Well, I'm trying to do my part, Mark, because I know you were just like, hey, whoever you can tell. I was like, whoever you can tell, have you met? Do you know what my database is? So I am spreading the word on behalf of my friend.
Yeah.
I'm going to respectfully request that no other candidates reach out to me to start this train. There was no money or anything, no contracts or deals. We're just talking to Gary natives, an Emersonian with a cougar, talking about what our city needs.
Absolutely.
And now what the state of Indiana. My friend is running for state senator, y'all. I'm so excited. Amber, have you voted? Are you going to vote?
I vote every year. I've been voting since I was 18.
She's been voting
since she was 18, like that was so...
that was last year.
Yeah, I know, right? But no, I am so glad for you. And as we get ready to wrap up this Seawood session, I want to yield the floor to you one more time. See that political term? Yield the floor to give you your final what do you want to say to voters that will make them push whatever the number that says Mark Spencer?
Absolutely. I want to make it perfectly clear that we're grateful for the opportunity to serve. For such a time as this, we are at a crossroads, and it's extremely important that we think about these issues of education, environment, as well as the economy. And we need a voice down in Indianapolis that's going to be a firm voice, a voice that will be progressive, and that one that will lean to the other aisle, across the aisle, dealing with our supermajority that happens to be Republicans. And I've worked with quite a few of them, including Mr. Ed Charbonneau, Senator Ed Charbonneau. And having those relationships going down there can yield incredible results and experiences for our community, and that being Gary and the greater District 3 area and all those areas that I mentioned. It's imperative that you are passive later, and that you stand and make sure that your voice is heard, exercising that right and supporting this initiative, this platform for our region, for the growth of this Northwest corner. And, you know.
Totally.
Okay, so I always ask before I do anything. Doesn't matter even if we're live. But in closing, I'm available to answer any questions that you have in terms of our efforts and our purpose here. And as I close, I want to thank you very much for having me today, Amber, for being that technical wizard that you are behind the camera.
Oh my God, now she's going to be like, but I'm a technical wizard.
She is a technical wizard. And to all of you that are watching, I want to sincerely ask you for your vote. I'm asking you for your vote. I am Mark Spencer, and I'm running for Indiana Senate District 3. And your vote, and I'm tired, so you can hear that your voice and vote will be greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance, and I wish you blessings. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing conversation with the one and only Mark Spencer. I always tease him, but I literally mean it when I encounter you in a public space. What do I always say? Oh my God, it's Mark Spencer. We have superstars born and bred right here in Gary, Indiana. I'm Chelsea Whittington. This is Mark Spencer, candidate for the 3rd District Indiana State Senator. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this video. If you're not registered, get registered. You can early vote, Gary Public Library. Go online and look to see where your other polling places are going to be May 7th. Make it happen. We'll see you next time.